recording later rather than sooner. So much for my plan in the last episode. There has been a lot of knitting and crochet done over these last 4 weeks, so I'm looking forward to showing those to you. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. For those of you that are new and have recently found me through Needles at the Ready, welcome in. I appreciate you following their recommendation and coming on over here. As a fellow knitter, I hope what I bring to you will be of interest. So welcome to episode 22, where I vlog my yarn makes. I use this format to vlog or video record what I've made through the month. I've been very good for years at logging my makes on Ravelry, which you can find me as Olivia30 on Ravelry. And I also record my makes on Instagram as Olivia30M. I do not have a separate Instagram for this channel. I've been Olivia30 on Ravelry for years and years and years, and calling this channel Olivia30 would have been a little strange. So yarn stories it is. Yarn stories because I love to talk about my yarn makes, and I am a librarian by trade and just an obsessed yarn collector, knitter, crocheter throughout all my spare time. That's pretty much what this channel is about. I'll show you my recent makes. I do tend to not have a specific genre, I guess you'd call, or a specific style for knitting. I tend to knit whatever strikes my fancy at the time or based on the yarn that has landed on my hands. So you'll see things on my channel that will vary from garments to cowls, scarves, socks, even washcloths, which is pretty much quite a bit of what I'm going to show you today. So let me start. Did I say? I can't remember if I said it, but I'll say it again. Welcome, Bem-vindo, to episode 22 of Yarn Stories with Olivia. So let's start with what's new to the collection. Can you guess what it is? Right? You see it? You see it? It's done. The Wilfreda tee that I talked about on the last episode and the episode before that was finished. Just as I said that I was going to focus on it, I did. I may have not stuck to the plan to record sooner rather than later, but I did stick to the plan to get this piece finished. My goal was to have it finished for Local Yarn Shop Day, which was April 26th, and I did. I had it finished on the 23rd, blocked and ready to be worn on that Saturday. And I am so thrilled with it. I am so happy that I decided to make it a tee because it is now May. And if I had made it as a long sleeve sweater, it would have been in the sweater bin until the fall. As a tee, I'm able to wear it. So let me start by saying that this Wilfreda came into my radar thanks to Sophie of Cozy Meadow Knits here on YouTube. She has a wonderful, wonderful channel. I could listen to Sophie talk about her makes all day long. I love her color choices. I love her pattern choices, and I just enjoy her company when I'm knitting. And so she shown this piece, and I got right onto it, have made already a long sleeved one, and decided to make another one in this color. This color is Cabernet. This is yarn that I purchased in Portugal when I was on vacation last June, and it is hand-dyed yarn by Maria João of Pontinhos ao Vento. She does not sell internationally. She only sells in Portugal through her online business store. Someday she may do it across the pond, but for now, I was wanting to try out her yarn for a while, and so when I was at the Knit with Friends Festival last June in Porto, Portugal, she had a booth there, and I picked up some of her yarn. I'm not going to stand up to show you because, you know, sweatpants with a pretty handmade top, but I'll put a video in here. This is on my Instagram, so if you follow me there, you've already seen it, and I've already posted this on Ravelry. So if you follow me there, you probably have already seen it. but it fit me perfectly. I absolutely love the make. I love how it came out. I love how the yarn worked up. The color pooling, once I decided that this piece had to be helical knit, it worked. The sleeves still have a little bit of some of the pooling, but I can live with this as a short sleeve versus having it as a long sleeve. And I have to admit, the body I did helical knit, and I had planned to helical knit sleeves, but then I got lazy and I said, you can live with this. And that's what I did. So I left these stripes in, but you know, I had to restart them, as you know, if you saw the last episode. So yeah, this doesn't bother me as much as if it had been the full sleeve, then I really would have felt like, so was that a design element or was it a mistake? As a short sleeve, it works. The garment is absolutely wonderful. I love it. And will I make another Wilfreda? Yes, I will, because I tend to make things in threes, and this is number 2. And I already have someone in mind that I want to make one for as a gift, because she cannot stop admiring this. I've wanted to work twice. Both times she just says how much she loves this top. So she has a birthday coming up soon, and I think I'm going to cast one on for her. I will probably just show it here at the end, because I haven't decided what color it is yet. But since this is a channel where I vlog my makes, it'll show up on here at some point. So what size did I do? I don't think I mentioned that last time, but anything that I forget to mention on here, I do keep very good record keeping on Ravelry. All of my needle sizes, how much yarn I used, etc. is all there. But I'm pretty certain this one was a size 5. Let me look at my notes here. Give me 1 second. So yes, I knit a size 5. I cast it on March 5th, frogged it on April 16th, and reknit it with a finish line of April 13th. Oh, sorry, of April 23rd. Not going backwards, going forward. I used a size 7 US, 4.5 millimeter for the neckband and for the hem and the cast off here on the sleeve. And it's a size 10, 6 millimeter needle for the body. Very similar to the Love Note, very similar to the Ranunculus. So if you've knit either one of those, you're gonna love knitting this piece. And it is a pattern. This is what I forgot to say. Again, if I forget, check below, but let me be more of a professional podcaster here and say, this is a pattern by Wench Roald on Ravelry, and it is a $6.50 US, more or less, and totally worth the price. You're going to enjoy making this piece. So I think that's all I have to say about this one. And my next wrap up finish that I had shown you in episode 21 was the flory scarf. I finished it. I still have it here. I haven't given it to the recipient. This was her yarn that she gave me to make something, and I am going to gift it to her because this is not something that I would wear, but I'm so glad it's finished. So this is the flory scarf. It is just a traditional scarf, you know, with 2 ends. This was made with a very light, airy, bulky yarn. It's Barocco Dash yarn, and this piece took 2 balls. And the pattern it's a $6 pattern by the Barocco design team. It is on Ravelry, and it uses the Barocco Dash. And it came in a kit from my local yarn shop, Naughty Knit. It had been kitted up with the 2 balls of the yarn, and the pattern was included. And it was gifted to someone that works with me, but she didn't want to make it. Asked me if I could make it and give it to someone. I said, sure, I'll make it, but I'm gonna end up gifting it back to her. And it is made with a size 13 9mm needle, and it works up really, really fast. And it's got this interesting, so it's a color pooling pattern, meaning that it was knit, but when you got to a section of the color, you purled it. you purl the stitch. You would purl it on the front facing side, and then on the back side you would knit it. So by doing the knit with a color yarn or the purl, it gave this texture here, which I wasn't sure I was a fan of, but in the end, when the piece was completely done, it actually looks pretty decent. And it's super warm right now for me to, well, let's see. But when it's warm in the winter, we work is downtown, and everybody has to park a good 3 to 4 blocks away, where there's no meters. So I'm certain that she's going to love wearing this in the winter with her jacket, and because she can wear bulky pieces. They look really good on her. So that's the Flory scarf, F-L-O-R-R-I-E. Flory scarf, patterned by Barocco, and that will be counted as one of my finishes. Not for my collection, but it's a finish. So that's that one. Let's throw that in the finished basket. What's the next finished item that I have? And again, it sort of piggybacks on my last episode. It is the Litmus Meets Every Which Way Cowl. Talked about this last time, where I wasn't sure if I was liking how it was working up with the vision I had for it initially, and the way it was working up, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I should just keep going, frog it. I ended up frogging some of it to make an actual every which way cowl as noted in the pattern. So the every which way cowl is a pattern by Kristen Clement. It's available on Ravelry. It is a $5 pattern, and it uses a size 7 4.5 millimeter needle. And this is what I only have one page. I didn't print the whole thing because basically I just needed the chart to follow it. But here's the picture of the cowl. And what I decided to do was I picked it up. Do I frog it? Do I not frog it? But I had made so much of it. I had taken back 2 of the mini skeins to use for the original cowl, which I showed in the last episode, and I'll insert a picture here of how it worked up. I have it on the mannequin. In fact, it's here in my gift box. Give me a second. Let me grab it. I did say I was going to put it in my gift box. It's here. And it's right on top. So this is not a finished piece for this episode, but just to show you. So this is what I had done real quick. Here's the actual, this is what the Litmus cowl looks like. And I used 2.5 minis in these turquoisey colors to finish it. And I have the rest, and so I decided to just go with it and finish it. And once I blocked it, I loved it. I posted a little short on YouTube of how I blocked it, and well, no, it's on the channel. You'll see it here, but I might just insert a picture depending of how I blocked it on my porch. So basically between 2 broomsticks. So I wouldn't lay it flat, and then you'll get the crease between the 2 broomsticks. I just kept rolling it, and every time I just, rolled it forward, then it never really creased. So this is what I'm talking about. This is the finished Litmus Meets the Every Which Way cowl. And I did it as a, what's the word now? Now I'm stuck on the word. Sometimes I get stuck on the words. I did the twist to it. I can't remember the word. Mobius. I remember. Mobius. It is a Mobius scarf. So I put a little twist in it so that I could wear it already with a little twist. And this is what it looks like. And it came out splendid. I'm so glad I didn't frog all this back. It is a little bit on the heavier side because the yarn is a DK yarn. And you know, it's not something I would wear now for the spring, but I think it's going to be perfect on those cold fall days or spring days or in the winter. And it's soft, it fits. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't take all of this apart. Yes, the yarn does talk to me sometimes and tells me what it wants to be, and sometimes it tells me what it doesn't want to be. And I was convinced that when I picked this up the other night, thinking I have to figure out what I'm going to do with this, it screamed at me, do not take me apart. You've gone this far, finish it, it's going to work. And I listened to the yarn, and I'm so glad I did. So here it is. And this is, the white is Barocco Vintage DK. I have several skeins of it in stash because it was something that I had found at the local charity shop. And here's, I don't have it skeined up. I just balled it up to finish up this. So in a cream, it's not really a cream, or very light off-white, I would say. And what I used for the colors are the Frost Bites Minis from Craft House Magic. This was her advent for 2024. I had gotten 12 of these DK minis. The colors are beautiful, gorgeous colors. And I have, and her advent came with a little bag. I had my yarn is in here. And let's see. And what I did was, let me get my little ball bands to explain. So what I had taken some of the other colors out for that cowl. Those were the lighter mint greens. For this one, I used colors. Give me 1 second because I want to do real justice to this. So it was color 1. Color 1. And I should take it off to say which one is color. So color 1 is Winter Night Sky. So that's what I started with. So I first cast on, so this is Winter Night Sky. It's got a, yes, there is a little flaw in here. I can see it. There's a little flaw in the pattern there. But that is, it wasn't intentional. I started to knit this when I was participating in the Moby Dick readathon at our local museum. Our Whaling Museum does it every year. So this was in January. And I was knitting it while I was waiting for my turn to read up at the podium, and when I came back, I just picked it up again and obviously left the whole line out. But I didn't fix it because each of my pieces, I don't do it deliberately, but somehow I always have one mistake and I leave it because a long time ago, one of my mentors at the library, someone who was a phenomenal librarian that helped a lot of us immigrant children when we would visit the library, and made us all feel so welcome with whatever we needed from her. And if we were struggling over something, she always had words of wisdom. And one of her words of wisdom at some point to me is that not everything is perfect. In fact, Native culture, indigenous peoples would often leave a mistake on purpose on their hand makes to let the bad energy out of it. So every time I come across something like that, I deliberately leave it in, and I think about Dinea and how she taught me so much, and taught me so much about how to have confidence in myself. And so, yeah, I will always leave one mistake in memory of Dinea. Anyway, I just went down another trip. Oh, there's a noise. You're probably going to be hearing that noise if you've got earbuds on. The guys are all home, and I think one of them just decided it's time to take a shower. My youngest is home video gaming, and I have a feeling he just decided that he needs to go out and meet his girlfriend. Anyway, so that was the first one. So day 1, Winter Night Sky. Day 2 was Arctic Moss. So day 2, it goes right into day 2 really well, where it's got like this green bluish tone to it. Day 3 is Frosty Evergreen. So it becomes a little bit more green. And I am taping downstairs because the boys were home. but they were both busy in their rooms, and because I had nice light here. And the other thing that I should say that's new is I am taping on my iPad this time. So if the noise is off, if the video quality isn't as good, I'm just trying to see if it works best for me to do it on the iPad, because I can see myself better on the iPad than I can on my little phone. So let's see how this works out. Lots of firsts on this one. And then what I decided to do, since this was the first color, instead of continuing with the greens, I jumped right up to number 7. And number 7 was Snowy Glade. And it's a tonal mini. So it's got some of the darker blue, the lighter blue, and I just thought it complemented the initial one well. And what I did was I Kitchener stitched it, and I am so proud of how yes, there's a few little lumps, but you know what? I think I lined it up really, really well. So I'm really, really happy with how I came out. And yeah, the stitching is, you know, there's a couple of little hiccups here and there, but overall, it's gonna be behind my neck. But it's not gonna matter. Anyway, so that is the Mobius cowl, every which way cowl meets the litmus cowl, however you want to call it. I am just so happy with it, and I love, love, love this yarn. Craft House Magic, it's Ellie, who's the hand dyer. She's in the UK, and I have to admit that I've just pre-ordered the one for this year because I love her yarn. And now that I've done an advent, I kind of liked it, and I got another one. So anyway, so that one is finished too. And I do recommend the pattern if you are looking for a quick gift knit. That's a great one to do. And I do keep her projects my projects with her yarn in one of her quilted bags. Okay, now on to new makes. I've got 15 new makes, but don't think I worked that hard for these 15 new makes. It is washcloth, dishcloth. These are part of the Dishcloth Revolution, hosted by Aaron of Fiber Hustle. Great channel here on YouTube as well. Every year, Aaron hosts this Dishcloth Revolution for 1 week, where you crochet or knit a dishcloth to give to charity, or to gift, or to keep for yourself. And this year he held it from April 23rd to April 30th, so it was 1 week. And I have a basket full of cotton. And I do like to make these as gifts. I do like to make these for me to use as washcloths for dishes. And I actually like to make them too, but sometimes I make them to put in between pots. So I've got several of these throughout the house. And I should first start to say that I have it in a basket, in a chip basket. Oops. Chip is the other half of Fiber Hustle. Aaron is the knitter and the yarn dyer, and Chip is the quilter. And he makes these beautiful quilted bags. And this one is called Golden Forest. And it's got a cute little tag on here, and it's got, I love the snap on top, which is their logo. The button is their logo. And yeah, I did have it right side up. I didn't have it upside down. And I love this basket for when I'm working on one of the projects. I just got this fall, and this is going to be my go-to. This is what I'll fill up with cotton, and each year if they host the revolution, I'll be making more dishcloth. So this was one I stopped at this point. I used for this pattern, for this project, I made them all the same. So all 15 are all the same. So I'll show you one. And these I plan to donate to our local women's shelter. I make a kit of one of these with either a little bottle of shampoo or some soap, and make a donation there. And the pattern that I used for these, so this is a linen stitch, and I always put a little handle on top in case they want to hang it up somewhere to dry. This is a pattern by, and I'm going to be mentioning a lot of podcasts here because I watch a lot of podcasts, and my little channel is here, and these other people, their channels are up here, and they may already have a following, but maybe some of the people that watch me don't know about them, so I'm putting in a plug for them. Why not? And I used was Liz's Linen Stitch dishcloth. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it was made by, designed by Liz Alvino, one half of the Cocktail Hour at the Coop podcast. That is a knitting and crochet podcast. Two sisters, one's a knitter, one is a crocheter. They're in New Jersey, and I too have met them personally, and when I can, I do join in on their monthly Zooms. They have I'm a Patreon of their channel. They have monthly Zoom nights for knitting, and another monthly Zoom night where they do a book club, recipe exchange, and a few more in depth than just sitting and knitting meetup. So Liz's Linen Stitch washcloth was super easy. It uses a K 6.5 millimeter hook, and all of my hooks are ancient because I've had these hooks forever, and as you can see from me using them, the color on them has worn out. I love these boil hooks. It's what I've used since I was 9-10 years old, and they're very comfortable in my hands. I am a pencil ripper when I crochet, hence why the ink is gone from there, because that's where my finger goes, and this here is where this goes. So those have got my handprints on them. So if you're looking for a quick dishcloth to make, or a washcloth, go check out Liz's pattern on Ravelry. I'll have everything linked there, and follow the guys at Fiber Hustle if you want to join in on this for next year, or just follow them because they're great to listen to, and just love the camaraderie that they have, much like Kevin and Ray of Needles at the Ready. So those are my dishcloth washcloths. We'll count them as one finished object because, you know, it's just washcloths. They were easy. They were quick to make. Watching television, watching episodes, there's been a few series that we've gotten really hooked on. One of them is Poker Face. I love that show. I love her. Anyway, this is not a channel for recommending TV shows. It's about yarn makes. So in another another finished object I have, and it is, I don't think I showed this one. No, I think this one is relatively new as well. This one I'm calling the Planes and Cars Shawl. Calling it that because this is what went on vacation with me in another little mini chip basket. He has these cute little mini ones that he calls chipettes. They're perfect for one skein of yarn, and I use these if I'm doing a sock. I put the ball, or the cake, the ball in here. In this case, I took the ball of yarn in here to take with me on the airplane for our vacation to knit on the shawl. And it did match the shawl really well. And the shawl I'm talking about is the sister shawl to the Alaska spring shawl that I made back in February for my friend Cindy. And this is the shawl. And we'll see how the color shows up because of the afternoon light. The pattern I used for this one is the Close to You shawl. I've made one before in a skein of yarn that, yeah, I go with the same story. A couple of years ago, we had a bunch of people donate yarn for our work that we were doing with the Afghans that had arrived in our city. Some of the Afghani women were knitters and crocheters, and we put out a call for donations of yarn so that they could have something to work on for, you know, mental health purposes, so they could sell some of their yarn makes. Turns out that we got more than we thought we were going to get, and turns out that only one and a half, because one was a prolific crocheter and one said she knew how to knit, but she didn't really care to knit. So we ended up with all of this yarn, and in the midst of the yarn were some skeins of hand-dyed yarn. And the coordinator of the effort, her name is Molly, and she admired the yarn that was in the pile. And one of them was this one skein of hand-dyed yarn. And she said, well, how pretty this is. And so what I said to her is, if you really like it, let me take that yarn. I will make something with it and gift it back to you as a thank you for coordinating this. Since the women didn't want the yarn, I'll make something for you. So the yarn was Breadalicious. That was the brand of yarn. On my Ravelry page, I have it there as the project. And so I call it the Breadalicious shawl. And once it was done, I gifted it to her, and she absolutely loved it. So I liked making this pattern because it works out really well with that one skein of yarn that you might have of hand-dyed yarn that is highly speckled. And it's sort of an intuitive pattern. I don't have to really think about it. I already know how it works. The 10-row repeat or 9-row repeat for the scalloped edges, or 16-row repeat, I forget already. But I knew how to make it, so I thought it'd be a great project for me to take on the airplane for vacation, which is why there's been such a gap in recording. In between these last 4 weeks, I did go spend a week in Florida visiting my brother and my aunts who live in Florida now. So anyway, I took it on the plane, and I also kept it in the car for our driving back and forth, and worked on that there. And it also was something that I took with me for restaurants, and we did make a quick stop for a couple of days at Walt Disney World, and we went to Epcot. So while waiting in line, this was something that I would be knitting on, because I had my little basket in my arm and I could knit away on it. And so let me put it on so you could see what it looks like. It has just enough of a pattern to make it a little lacy, but not too lacy because it has a lot of garter. It's a perfect combination of lace and garter so that you don't get bored, but at the same time you don't get overwhelmed with all the lace. And I love how it fits. So the story with this yarn, I skipped that part, but let's finish the pattern. Come on, Olivia, finish the pattern. So the pattern is the Close to You shawl by Justina Lorkowska, and it's free on Ravelry. And I used the Juno Woolies yarn from Alaska in the colorway Winter Peaks. This is the yarn that I use. So Juno Woolies. And this is a, it's their, the base is Cozy Toes. It's a 75 superwash merino, 25 nylon. And I had 2 skeins of this yarn. My friend Cindy had gone to Alaska on a cruise, and she came into a yarn shop and said, this beautiful yarn here, do you want me to buy you some? I said, certainly, but buy 2 skeins so that I can make us both something. One for you to keep as a memento of your trip, and one for me to have as a memento of you thinking about me while you were on vacation. And the plan had been to finish both shawls in February when we sat down to spend the weekend together to scrapbook. We scrapbook together a couple of times a year, but I didn't get to finish mine. I finished hers, and the plan now is if we see each other this summer, if not, you know, whenever we get to see each other and we have an opportunity, we will take a picture of us with our shawls together. I contemplated doing the same one for me as hers, but I thought I would make it a little different. And when I see her, if she decides she likes this style better with a lace, I'll swap it out with her. And that is 2 more skeins of yarn that came into my life that have turned into something to be worn. And it's, you know, it's another one of those patterns that I highly recommend if you've got a very highly speckled yarn. Oh yeah, there is one more thing that I shouldn't say about it. I didn't do it on Molly's, but I decided to do it on this one. On this pattern, it calls for a picot bind off. And I think why I didn't do it in the other one was because I wasn't gonna have enough yarn to do the picot, but for this one I did. In fact, I worked up enough so that this is what I've got left, which is maybe 4 grams, 5 grams? No, maybe like 3 or 4 grams. And I had enough, so I decided to do the picot bind off. It actually was easier than I thought it would be, and it is kind of cute. It does add a little extra element to the piece. Oh, and how do you guys think? Look at my nails. my son's girlfriend, she's wonderful. She loves to paint nails, and she asks me what I'm going to be showing on the podcast, and then she shows me the polish she has, and she said, oh, that polish is going to look really pretty with a blue scarf that you want to show. She's a sweetheart. So now let's move on to new cast-ons. Yes, I have no business casting on anything new, not with the other 15, 16, whatever many projects I have on the go. But because I have this thing or this need to finish up all of the yarn that I've worked with, I wanted to use up the rest of the yarn that I had in this Cabernet colorway. And I decided to cast on, and it's finished, and this is what I've got left still. So I might have to find another project. This is almost 1 full skein of the Cabernet, and it's in a ball because it's what I unwound from here. And this is what I cast on. I decided to work on the Grid Gambit by Samantha Guerin. Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? It is gorgeous. I sometimes don't want to make something that everybody else is making because there's so many patterns out there, and my Ravelry feed at the top tends to be the same thing all the time, and sometimes I go to the middle just to see what's there. But once in a while I do fall into it, and I want to do what everybody else is doing, and I always say to myself, well, there's a reason why everybody else is doing it. It's because it's a pretty pattern and it works up fast. Yeah, this is one of them. So this one uses the rest of the Puntigny Alvent yarn. It is done. I cast it off this morning, but full disclaimer, it hasn't been blocked yet. See, it's still a little curly at the bottom, and it will be blocked as soon as I finish here, because I need to mattress stitch it. This is what it looks like right now in the back. I have it with pins. So I will be mattress stitching it closed as the pattern calls for after I finish with the episode. So what I used for this one, the Puntigny Alvent, and let me put it on just so we could see how it is. And it's another stunner. And this is one that went with me on vacation. So I worked on this one while I was spending time in my aunt's house in her backyard, as well as when we were winding down or starting off our day in the morning from the resort. Because this is one that I had to follow the chart, and it's not one that I could do in line because I'm not going to be carrying a chart with me. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be another one of those items that I'm going to love wearing. In fact, both my aunts were admiring it when I was there and saying that where they live in northern Florida, it does get cold in the winter, December, January. They get 2 months of cold. Not really that much, but they said that they could wear this. What I used for this one was this yarn. This is Rosario Piopardo. It's from their eco-friendly collection. It's made in Portugal. It is a weight 3 yarn, And it is made, let's see if it says, yeah, it says that it's made, yeah, it's 100% wool. But it is a spun yarn with different colors. So it's very similar to what you'd see with Spin Cycle. And they sell these in 50 grams. Yep, 50 gram skeins. And I forgot to bring downstairs what the skeins look like. I've got them upstairs. I had planned to record upstairs and I didn't mention that. But from a 50 gram skein, I still have this much left. I didn't weigh it because I literally just cast this off. So I need to weigh this and see how much is here. But this is probably 20, maybe 20 grams. But I'll have all those notes on Ravelry once I put this on there. And it just worked out so well. I'll have to find another project. Or maybe I'm going to weigh this and see how much there is here. I might be able to make another one and send identical ones to the aunts. Because my TT-ish, they are very close and they like a lot of the same things. If one has it, the other one has to have it too. So maybe that's what I'll do. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see how that works out. And that is, what else can I say about it? Well, the pattern is a paid for pattern. And I said it was Samantha Garin, and it's $8. And the yarn, this Piopardo, is available in Europe and Portugal. Rosario is sold here in the US. Very few shops carry it, but the closest to me that carries it, and if you're interested in looking, it is the, let me see, I wrote it down. So the Woolery in Kentucky sells it for $9.99 a skein, or Mother of Pearl in Maine sells it for $10.25. Now, Maine's a lot closer to me, so I could probably order it from Maine and shipping will be less. But in this case, I had ordered some was from the Woolery, and it arrived super easy, fast. I had picked up one of the skeins while I was in Portugal to try it out, loved it, and that's why I wanted to order more. So I ordered this blue, and I ordered another, it's a green-yellow tone as well. If you want to try working with it for $10, with a little bit of shipping, it's definitely worth the cost. I loved working with it, and I'll probably be hitting the Woolery soon, or the Mother of Pearl. I'm ordering some more colors to try more projects with this yarn. So that is my Cabernet Grid Gambit, and I'm going to take it off. It is warm. I don't know this weather. It started out cool, and then it got hot, and then it's cloudy, and then it's not cloudy. But yeah, I'm really happy with this piece as well. So new cast on number 2, and it is the library socks. Yes, library socks. And these will be my, what month are we in? May socks? These will be my May socks. So far I've have this plan to knit one pair of socks every month. So far I've met that goal. I've got it January, February, March, yeah, April, and now these are the May socks. So these are the library socks. This is what the pattern looks like. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I wanted to participate in the book club socks. It is hosted by the Nell of Novel Knits here on YouTube. She has a podcast. And also Sophie of Cozy Meadow Knits. So this is a cowl that they're doing a knit along. And the idea behind this one is to match yarn to a book that you're reading. So the reason I chose the book club sock instead of the blueberry sock, because the book that I am reading is The Berry Pickers, a novel by Amanda Peters. The reason why I chose that versus the blueberry socks, because that's also a free pattern on Ravelry, is because this is the book that our library network is reading, and I figured I'm going to multitask. I'm going to do the knitting of the socks for the cowl, and I'm reading the book for the network. We're having our book discussion soon, and the yarn I chose to go with it. I don't have, well, I've got it caked up now, so it'll be hard to see, but I'll put the picture in here of what it looked like before it was skeined up. The yarn that I am using is Cascades Yarn Heritage Waves that I purchased from another local to me yarn shop, KG Crafts in Fall River, Massachusetts. She has a few, quite a few colors in this yarn. And this is what I have so far. I don't have much done because, you know, vacation, making dishcloths before vacation, working on the Grid Gambit, working on a shawl. So yeah, the hands were a little busy. This is what I have so far. This is what it looks like. And while it doesn't look as similar to the color of the cover of the book as it did when I first had it, before I skeined it up, it is going to match up nicely because my choice is to do the heel and toes in this mystery blue yarn that I've got in stash. Right here on my side, I've got a bowl with a bunch of minis, and I've used this for some other sock. I don't know what, and some of these minis that I have don't have tags. I must have picked them up from a clearance sale. But anyway, these will match nicely. It will match this nicely because in the skein, now that it's caked up, this is what it looks like. So this blue, before I caked it up, there was much more blue than what's actually here. So what I think is going to happen is the blue is going to be towards the end. So my plan right now is to, when I get to where I need to with the length, I am going to cut the yarn. There's going to be some yarn management here for me. I'm going to cut the yarn to do the heel, which for me is always a slip stitch heel. And then I'm going to cast on the other sock with this color and then work back and forth to try. Do the socks need to match? No, they don't, because these are going to be a gift for my husband. Not even a gift at this point, is I'm kind of on make socks gift to the husband mode because he's still wearing the socks with his Crocs in this warm weather, but he wears them with shorts now around the house. And he just has discovered how comfortable they are to wear with Crocs. So he does. But with that said, I still have this thing where I'd like to make them sort of match, so that's the plan. Even though there's a little bit of a gradient here, I'll see how, we'll see if I make it work. We'll see. I'll let you know next episode how it's going to come out. With all of my socks, I use a size 2.75 millimeter because I am a very tight knitter, and that gives me the fabric or the tension that fits him nicely because I do as a 64 stitch leg. For a men's sock, you would think around 72, but because I'm using the 2.75, I have to go down to a 64. So these are the socks that I'm making for the book club sock cowl. And we'll see how I get along with those. The new cast on, as I said, it's there's others in the basket. Let's get done. And I'm keeping these in this bag, this project bag that was made for me by Manuela of Du Coração Atelier. She is also in Portugal, and she made this for me as a gift and sent it to me at Christmas time. And it was perfect too for me to put into my suitcase. For a week's vacation, I took 5 knitting projects with me. And of the 5 knitting projects, 3 never came out of the suitcase. I ended up rotating between the Grid Gambit and the Close to You shawl, the Plain and Cars shawl. And yeah, there wasn't much knitting time. Family time, when you go on vacation and family's involved, especially if it's Portuguese family, you have to spend a lot of time socializing and a lot of time eating. And a lot of time making decisions about what am I going to have to eat tonight? What do you feel like eating? What are you craving? TT is going to make it for you. No, the other TT is going to make it for you because TT is going to make it the way your mother taught me how to make it. And it was like, and then of course there's like, I'm not going to sit and knit while they're cooking for me. So I have to participate around the kitchen and help them, at least with the cleanup. They wouldn't let me do any of the cooking, but I clean up was something that I just had to do. So yeah, so knitting time was a little different than if I had been at home. But boy, did I eat well. This is one of those things that you sort of take for granted when your mother is alive, is that she's always going to be there for you to cook her special meals. And then one day she's gone and you realize, at least this is my story, you realize that you never really wrote down her recipes. Not that I probably would have been able to write them down, because everything was this much or this much or that much. And while I saw her making a lot of the dishes, I never really paid attention to how she did it, because she was always making it for me. And fortunately for me, it's a lot of her recipes were done by my aunts. My aunts moved down to Florida about 30, one moved there about 30 years ago and the other one about 28 years ago. And they took the recipes with them and they've been cooking them. My aunts are just a few years older than I am, but there was a big age gap between my mother and them. So they're sort of my older sisters. And but they took a lot of my mother's knowledge with them. And yeah, I was glad that I got to spend some time with them. There's a picture on Instagram where I did a redo of us six, myself with my 3 siblings and my 2 aunts, my Tiash, from 1973, I believe, was that when that picture was taken. I'll probably put it on here in case you don't follow me on Instagram. And I had somebody message me and say, why do you look so sad in this picture and so serious? Looking back through the pictures that we have, all of the pictures that I have with my aunts, I am sad. And that is because they would be visiting us from the US, and we always used to take those formal pictures a couple of days before they were leaving. And that was always so heartbreaking for me to lose them, because I absolutely loved them both dearly. And as I said, they were like my older sisters. So it was great to spend time with them. They totally spoiled me and convinced me that, you know, waiting to visit them every 4 years is not ideal. But I'm hoping they'll come up here for a change. I mean, it's summer now. I know that they were here for years and years. I know that they're now snowbirds. They can't handle the cold. But like they said, in northern Florida where they live, it gets cold in the winter too. There's been days when the temperature here has been the same as it's been in Jacksonville, because that's where we went, Jacksonville, Florida. Anyway, a little side note of my personal life here. If you've made it this far, I do put chapters in. I am going to be talking about some whips, but before I talk about some more works in progress, or as I think I'm going to start calling it, I'm going to start calling it a progress report. Right? You're a genius. Why didn't I think of using that terminology sooner? Since I have as new to the collection, I have as things from the archives. I mean, I've got all of this library lingo in here when I do these episodes, and I never even thought of progress report instead of works in progress, because yeah, I do a lot of progress reports. So it makes sense, since I am vlogging my progress on my makes, and if I'm going to be videoing it, it should be a progress report. So I will be talking about those, but first I want to do a little side trip here and talk about my experience with local yarn shop day. As I said, I had this done in time to wear it. I loved it. I was so happy I was able to use it that day. It was a very, very wet day here in the south coast of Massachusetts. It poured buckets. But I did manage to hit 3 local yarn shops. There is one about 15 minutes from me in South Dartmouth, which is Naughty Knits. Beautiful little shop in the Peyton Village. Very cozy, very adorable. She's got amazing yarns there. And it is a shop that I tend to go to if I need a needle or that one little skein of yarn to finish a project. It's a quick trip for me. So what I got at her shop, and I didn't buy much. I'm not going to have a lot to show you. You can fast forward if you don't want to see what some of the purchases were, but I don't have much because I am very aware of how much I already have. And I am trying very hard to not accumulate more. So I was very careful with my purchases. So what I bought from Naughty Knits was I picked up a kit that she had, and it's the Alpine, it's for the Alpine Bloom hat, and she had it kitted up already, so it was an easy grab for me. And this is the Alpine Bloom hat by Caitlin Hunter, and it's something that I've had in mind to make for a while. In fact, I probably was going to use some of that Piopardo yarn, but she already had it here kitted up, and in here she has this cash silk like. Where is I didn't take it out of the bag, so I don't want to. Du Nord, it's an Italian yarn. It's Lane's Du Nord Cash Silk Light. It's a luxury yarn, and it looks like it's a size 3 yarn. And she had this skein already balled up in here. She said that the tag was in here, but I don't see it, but it was fine. I like the colors of it, and I like the kit. And this is, yeah, this will be something that I'll work on eventually. So in support of her shop, I got that. And I got a, because I've been wanting to try this for a while, but I didn't want to invest in a big deck. So I picked up a small deck, the London Doodle card deck. I want to try to do a litmus style cowl, but I want to do it with the different designs. And I thought, you know, London, the UK, this is right up my alley. I am very much an Anglophile. I love everything to do with the UK. I love visiting the UK. I hope to visit the UK again. I've been lucky enough to go to London. I was lucky enough to go do a tour of the UK, starting off in London, going all the way up to Edinburgh and down the Lake District, down to Wales, and then back to London on a 10-day trip. And that was one of those very, very special trips. And have been to Ireland and hope to go spend some time in Scotland too. And but yeah, we'll see what next year will bring us. So the doodle deck with that from Naughty Knits. And then after that, I hit the yarn shop. I went west, and it was KG Crafts in Fall River. Rained like crazy all the way there in my 20-minute ride. I had to park in front of the shop for a while until the rain let up a little bit, but I did go in to visit with Karen. And Karen's shop is a haberdashery. She not only has yarn, she has fabric, she has buttons, she has cross-stitch supplies, she's got art supplies, she's got ceramics, you name it. Whatever you're thinking of crafting, she has it in her shop. But Karen also knows that I have a lot of yarn. I still have yarn that I bought from her 20 years ago that I haven't used. But I didn't want to support her on a local yarn shop day. And so I picked up one ball of Zauber ball. I did not have, I think I've got one of these in stash, but I really liked, or really thought that this green was really, really pretty. And there's a sweater I have in mind that uses fingering weight yarn for the color work. And I thought this would work out really well. So this is the, it doesn't have a color, just color 2292, and it is 400 meters, 50 grams. Does that sound right? I guess it does, that's what it says. But yeah, so one ball of that. And in my final stop from there, I went further west, crossed over state lines, and I went to Rhode Island, which was to Skein Yarn Shop, a favorite place of mine to visit. It is about a 50-minute ride for me, so I tend to go when there's special occasions. I wish they were closer so I could spend some Saturday afternoons there knitting, or Sunday afternoons, but it is a little bit of a haul. So when she has, or when they have a special event, I always make sure to go and visit. And so I did. You know, by the time I got to East Greenwich, the rain had stopped, and but it was good because I ended up getting there closer to 1 o'clock, and the shop had been super, super busy, and it would have been a lot of people in there, and it was fine. I knew I was going to stay towards the end until 4 o'clock, so going in at 1 o'clock was just the right time for me. It is one of those shops where you walk in and you feel so welcomed each and every time. As soon as I walk in, Laurie, the shop owner, is always, Olivia! And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to come in here quietly and saying hi. Like she lets everybody know that you've come in, and she always remembers everybody's name. She's amazing. She's so much fun. She also has a podcast here with Justine, which is Skein Scoop podcast, where they talk about their shop, they talk about their makes, and they're just super energetic and a lot of fun to sit and knit with. So what did I get from the shop? I had my eye on this for a while, which was in Michelle's colorway for this local yarn shop. She was having a trunk show there at Skein. I have a couple of other skeins of Michelle's yarn that I've picked up at Wool and Folk a few years ago. But this one was special because she made this one special for the shop. It is in the colorway Bubbler. Now, if you're in this area of the country, Bubbler is a water fountain. We call it Bubbler. We used to have a bubbler at the library. We had bubblers in school. But now I've learned, thanks to Michelle, when she announced it on her channel or on her Instagram post, it seems to be something that's local. Not everybody uses that term, but she named this colorway Bubbler. And it's stunning. These blues, in fact, it sort of would have been good for this too. This would have been a good yarn to go with this book title. But, you know, on its own, it's going to be amazing. We'll see when I get to work on it. But anyway, the blues are my son's favorite color for socks as well. So this was gorgeous. She had a full table. At the beginning of the day, I saw the post when the shop opened. The table was full of this yarn and more yarns. By the time I got there, there was a lot of tablescape. There was a lot of, you could see the table. It's a huge table, and I could see that there was yarn here and there and there. I was like, wow, you know, and this was all gone. And there was only a couple of skeins left, and my friend Jen, Bookworm Jen on Instagram, is a fellow librarian, and she messaged me and said, there's not many skeins left. Are you going to make it? And I said, I'm on my way. I'm on 195. It's just raining so much. I'm driving very carefully. So I asked her to hold on to the skein that I was going to be there by 1. You know, I was going to buy. So yeah, she saved me a skein so that I could get it. And I think this might have been, by the time I got there, by the time I got there at 1 o'clock, there was none on the table. So this one is a special treat. And I picked up 2 minis of Hope Made yarn. I've been wanting to try this yarn for a while. I have, one is Blue Whale. I do live in the whaling city. And the other one is Algae. And I wanted to try these yarns. And I figured a mini form would be a great way for me to try it. I do have a little collection of minis, and it's a great way for me to try a yarn. And if I like it, then I can order the full skein. So these 2 came with me. And Hope Made yarn, I'm going to name drop here another podcast. At Skein Yarn Shop, when I've gone, there's 2 ladies who are often at the shop, and that is Gail and Laura. And we've sat at one corner of the table. They've been at another table. And I say we, it's my friend Robin and my friend Sue when we've made the trip there to Skein. And they are laughing. They're having a good time knitting. And I've always admired their camaraderie. And I just thought they're so funny. And their knits are amazing. And they've just, you could see the friendship between them. And then I found out that they had a podcast here on YouTube. They decided to start their own channel. And it is the Yarn Room Shenanigans. And if I tell you that the way they are on the channel is exactly how they are at Skein, even if you're never able to get there to Skein to check out that wonderful magical shop, sit down with Laura and Gail, and you're going to feel like you're at Skein Yarn Shop. They are so funny. Their makes are unbelievable. Their camaraderie is they just make me laugh. They're just such good friends, and they're so lucky to have each other and to podcast together and just be so like-minded, finishing each other's sentences, which is what happens with Kevin and Ray. They just finish. They know what they're talking the same language. It's fantastic. All I have here sometimes is Gary, which you haven't seen him on the podcast today because I overdid it in the last episode. And thank you for the Gary fans who said thank you for sharing Gary. But today he was asleep upstairs, but I just saw him walk underfoot here somewhere. Like he's wondering why I'm down here. But anyway, so yeah, I don't have a sidekick. Sometimes I wish I did because there are words that I forget. And if I had somebody to prompt me, I probably would remember them faster. But this is me. All right, so back to what I got at Skein. And the other thing I got at Skein was these cute stitch markers. They're called, it's Twinkle Dimple markers. And these are made, oh, speaking of Gary, there he is. I spoke too soon. I spoke too soon. So here's Gary. Hello, Gary, say hi. So my co-host, hey Gary, say hi babies, say hi to the people, say hi to the fans, say hello. Yeah, kisses. All right, Mom's gonna finish recording. There's my Garys. Come on, you get down. Okay. That was an impromptu visit. So as I said, so Twinkle Dimple Design, she makes these cute little stitch markers. This is Angie, who's also another phenomenal knitter that sits around the skein table and that I've met at several events. She does go with my friend Jen to a lot of the Yarny events. And she is on this new journey of making these stitch markers, and they are adorable. And I got the markers, not the progress keepers. I have a bunch of progress keepers already, so I thought these would be special because they're all the same. And sometimes when I'm making a sweater, I like to, when I separate for the sleeves, having the same markers. She is twinkle.dimple on Instagram. Yeah, twinkle.dimple.studios on Instagram. And she does have an Etsy shop as well. So go on over and check this out. And let's see, so those were, so yeah, so that's all I got. So it isn't much. So I got, you know, one from one, a Zawa ball, and a kit from another store. So I think I did really well. I was proud of myself. I didn't have a huge bag of more yarn to find a place to put in the house and find a basket or a box to put it in. Let's see, what do I've got left? So I've got just a little disclaimer here to give Jen a shout out. Jen is Bookworm Jen on Ravelry. On the table, Michelle had an example of the book snake. The book snake is sort of like a temperature thing, but more where you make the snake and then the body of the snake, the colors that you use are the colors of the books you've read. So it's sort of a, you know, a way to log how many books you've read. Let's say I was going to log that one, the blueberry book, I would use a blue colorway, and then it's off-white in between. I am just not a snake person. I can't, just the word already cringes me. In fact, I'm so bad that in the library, when I first started, if I had to put books away or if I had to go get a book for a patron, it was about snakes, I just like, in a book, I still couldn't look at the picture. So I know it's a yarn snake. It's made with yarn. It's hard for me. So Jen and I were talking about it, and Jen says, why not just call it a worm? It's a bookworm. Hey, hello, bookworm Jen. I said, Jen, that's a brilliant idea. I can get under that. I can get with that. I can get with a bookworm versus a book snake. And yes, I'm interested in doing that. So shout out to Jen. I know Ray mentioned that that Olivia talked about the bookworm idea, but it was from Jen originally. And in discussion, when I said, yeah, Jen, I've been talking about it, you know, doing it as a bookworm, I think the Jen part got missed out. So Jen, giving you the shout out. And what I'm thinking of doing, because I want to participate, I am going to try to develop a worm head. Just for me, the problem is the head of it, which is silly because, you know, sometimes I look at Gary and his little face, he kind of has that little snout too, and it's like, oh, I am not afraid of Gary, but I'm afraid of snakes. Anyway, and did I say that I was born in the year of the snake? Why do I have this fear of snakes? I don't know. Yeah, it creeps me out. Sometimes my husband will say there's a little garden snake in the backyard, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not going back up there. Gary, come on. He's trying to get my attention. Anyway, so I'm going to try to work on something. If I come up with a little pattern, I'll share it on here. And if you're interested afterwards, let me know. And let me take just a second here to say, if you haven't done already, please like, subscribe, and share the channel to help me get it out to more people out here on YouTube. And if there's things that I don't explain well enough, go ahead and leave me a comment or ask me a question. If for some of my Portuguese viewers, if I've spoken too fast, I tried to slow down. If I've spoken too fast on explaining something, and if you're interested in having me explain it to you in Portuguese, let me know, because I am going to try to do a little segment with the next episode. I'll do a little segment at the end where I'll try to explain a piece in Portuguese if I have someone who's interested. So if there's a particular piece that I've shown you if on this episode or another one that you want me to explain a little bit more on how I did it, I will attempt to do it in Portuguese. Knitting terms in Portuguese are new to me, but I've been watching so many Portuguese podcasters that I'm getting much more comfortable in saying it, because I was able to explain it to my TT-ish what I was doing in Portuguese, and I felt really proud that I had the words, even though they didn't understand the words in English or Portuguese, because they know nothing about knitting. They know cooking and they know cleaning. They don't know anything about hand hobbies. Anyway, and I think talked about, I was going to do an accountability section, and I can do it still, but I'm going to do it really, really, really quick. The accountability section is my thought to put on here now, because I have found that with this channel, I stay on task and focused to finish something because I want to show it in the next episode. So the way for me to work down my works in progress, some podcasts are doing the roll of the dice and then they pick out that project. I've tried the lucky dip where I'll just eeny, meeny, miny, moe, I'll grab a bag. What's really worked for me in this past year has been doing this channel. In talking about it, then I want to finish it so I can talk about it being finished. So that's what I'm going to do here in this part. I showed this last time. I have it in this bag, this camping bag, camper's bag. I've had this project in here for 2 years. I have, let's see, it's called, I'm calling it the Hydrangea Tea. It is a pattern by Samantha Guerin, the Petal Party Crop. And I cast this on in August of 2023. And I haven't touched it for quite a while, and I'll show you why. It is a beautiful, beautiful pattern, the Petal Party Crop. I think I can show you. I got it. Let's see if I got a photo of it here. Sometimes when I print it, I don't print. Yeah, I do. I don't print the front page because I know what it looks like. But this is the Petal Party Crop. And I thought I can make this with this yarn that I purchased from a local farmer's market. This is a local to me yarn dyer. It is Pink House hand-dyed yarn in the colorway Hydrangea. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. And one of the things about the island of San Miguel is that in the summer, like pretty soon, by June, yeah, probably by now into June, the island is completely covered in hydrangeas. All of the roadways, you can see what the roadways are based on the amount of hydrangeas there are. If I find a photo of when we were there one year in June, I'll put it on here. We even did a little video driving down these roads, and it's all hydrangeas. By July and August, they're already burned out. But I thought, this called to me, this spoke to me, I need to make a top with this. So I did. I found this Petal Party Crop. I thought it would be perfect, and it was. It's a beautiful pattern. I worked on it, working out beautifully. It's worked, it's constructed where you do the back, and then you do the front, and then you join in the round. So this is what I have so far. So I had the back pretty much all squared away. It's got the lace work on either side. And then I had joined the front, and I was working on the front, and off and merrily I went. Now earlier I talked about how sometimes I spot mistakes and I leave them. Well, in this case I spotted mistakes and I thought of fixing them, but I said no, because the yarn, and this is my problem, the yarn is so variegated that one, you couldn't really spot the mistakes, and two, you can't really spot the lace. So the more I looked at it, the more I said, no, this is not the right yarn for this top. This is the right yarn for something, but it's not the right yarn for this top, because it is just way too busy. And I know this is the back, but I wanted to just put it on to see. I just thought it was way too busy, and it took this design element out of it. So I haven't taken it apart because I keep thinking about it. Well, I've been thinking about it for 2 years, almost 2 years, and it's been sitting in the bag and I've ignored it. And then one day it just occurred to me that I just need to let the yarn tell me what it wants to be, and I think I figured out what I want this yarn to be. So my thought is I am going to use this yarn to make a lento, and I am going to combine it with this. This Satasuri mohair. It's a Lana Grossa mohair that I picked up. No, it's it's alpaca, not mohair. It's 69% alpaca, 31% silk. And I picked this up at Karen's shop in Fall River, and I think combining it with this, it's going to tone down the high variegation, and I think it's going to look great for a lento. So I need to work on this one. But I don't want to give up on this petal party crop. So what I'm going to do is I have this blue, and this is Heritage, is Cascade Heritage as well, isn't it? Yeah, it's Cascade Yarns Heritage. And it doesn't have a colorway. It just says color 5603. But it is a 75 superwash merino and 25% nylon. And I think I have got 4 of these skeins. I'm going to use this skein to make the petal party crop. So that's the plan. In a solid color, I think it'll work out better. And the accountability is because I already have it kicked up, ready to start for the lento. So let's see if I can get on with it. And then I'll take this apart and re-soak the yarn, and I'm going to have more than I need, and I'll figure out another project for it. So that's the accountability. If you've made it this far, I'm going to ask you to leave me a comment. It's been a while since I've asked this question. I don't tend to pose many questions on the channel, so I'll pose one now. Let me know where you're watching me from. I have last I checked, I think 927 subscribers, and I am getting the views that sort of correlate to my subscribers, so I know some of you are hanging on there with me. Let me know where you're watching me from. You can leave me a flag or just the country name. I am very curious about where I'm being listened to. If also you are one of my Portuguese viewers, don't forget to let me know if you'd like me to explain something in Portuguese. And yeah, if you have any questions about any of my makes, let me know. If you would like me to do something a little different here on this channel, such as life updates, I can do that too. I sort of weave in my live updates, I weave in my life updates as I talk. Yeah, and here at the end, I'll just put a little bit, I might put a little video photo collage of our trip to Florida and our little side trip to Orlando and to go to Epcot. We do one vacation a year with our older son, Devin. It's our family trip with him. I don't mention this here on this channel too often. I don't think I've ever mentioned it on this channel. but our older son lives with an intellectual disability, and he is very special to us. He has made us very aware of how this world is and how to become better people, and I wouldn't change a thing. He has taught me a lot. He continually amazes us with his outlook on life and what he's learning along the way. And every time he learns something new, for us, it's always a rare moment. It's we always get that feeling like when you first see your child take that first step or say their first word. We get a lot of those moments throughout his life, and yeah, wouldn't change a thing. So that was his vacation, and his choice this time around was to go to Florida. He wanted to go visit the aunts. He wanted to go visit the cousins. I have to admit, I did as well. My youngest brother is living there now too. We got to visit with him, and yeah, and then we said, well, we'll go and do Epcot, because he does really well at Epcot. He enjoys eating around the world. He enjoys visiting the different countries, and we enjoyed some of the rides. Our favorite was Ratatouille. I have to admit, I really enjoyed that one. That is one of his favorite movies, and we did stay in line for 45 minutes to get into that one, but it was worth it. Anyway, I think that'll be a wrap for now. So let me say thank you for rejoining me. I really appreciate and value your time while you're here and listening to my stories. So with that said, I'll wish you all well, and até a próxima. Obrigada por estar aí deste lado. Agradeço muito. Tchau.